new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
Live from Sunset Gower Studios, The Amazing Hour with Joanne O'Brien and Sabrina Johnson.
There's a power here within me. There's a strength that's deep inside. If I'm willing to be willing, the field is open wide. And I know I have the courage, so I push my fears aside and allow these words of truth be heard from every mountain high. I am amazing, I am amazing. There's nothing I can't do. I am amazing, I am amazing. And you're amazing too. We share a vision, we share a dream. Are you ready? Slow and steady, we are making history, 'cause we are amazing.
Wow, thank you. Well, welcome everyone to our 12th episode of The Amazing Hour, where we celebrate everyday superstars. I am Joanne O'Brien.
And I'm Sabrina Johnson.
And we are live in Hollywood on the UBN Radio Network at Sunset Gower Studios. And we're delighted that you are here and you are tuning in. And we know that you're going to get some really great goodies that help you see how amazing and brilliant and the superstar in you. So what this evening, and we want to visit with you. First things first, we cannot start the show without acknowledging the tragic loss of Robin Williams. And so we are not going to talk about mental illness and the shock of his passing. What we want to bring to light is his mental brilliance and the grace of his existence and how he touched our lives in the most glorious of ways. So everyone loved Robin Williams, and while we will only have memories of his genius as we watch the reruns of his work, it's really important to remember that somewhere, as long as there is film and television and YouTube and Google, that some young person will be being introduced to Robin Williams for the very first time. And they will discover their own unique relationship with him. And they will have an opportunity to start to build their own relationship. And that's what I'm about Robin Williams. And Sabrina, I know that you have your thoughts as well on this genius.
Yes. Actually, when Joanne and I spoke earlier today, let me get my glasses on, we thought that we should really acknowledge Robin Williams, especially what has been going on, all the exchanges and everything. And this is what would be my Facebook post, since I haven't posted on Facebook. But this is just my thought. And I just said, in this little blurb of mine, I'm just going to read it. I said, yes, we all feel the loss of this genius talent in his abrupt passing. Not like he was a friend of mine or even an acquaintance. He didn't have to be, though, because he was an infinite spirit who lived large and played large. Whether it was Mrs. Doubtfire or Armand in the Birdcage or Dr. Patch Adams, remember that, or The Wizard in August Rush. And if you haven't seen August Rush, it's a must-see feel-good movie, just really great. And he just touched our hearts ever so deeply, as we can see by everyone who's talking about this. And he was a superstar, and he always will be. He's an everyday superstar. So every day, as Joanne said, when we see a rerun of one of his movies, or when we feel dorky and think of his lovable Mork, and with this remembering, we love ourselves and each other as well for all of our humanness. And so this show is really about celebrating that amazingness of each and every one of us. Everyone listening and watching, everyone who participates in the show each week, our engineers of sound, light and magic, Kurt and John. Kurt, who's here today, and the wonderful owners of this station, UBN Radio, Ann Walker and Tony Sweet. And the sweet angel at the security guard, Ola, at the front desk. And every time we check in, we feel like we've been given a present. She's just so sweet. And it's like everyone, and of course, all of our amazing guests, everyone who's been a guest here just gives of themselves so generously. And my co-host, Joanne O'Brien.
Well, thank you, Sabrina.
And so, that's what we do here. We celebrate all of us every day, recognizing we're all unique superstars. And we're really truly awestruck when we see that in ourselves and each other. So I think of our show as a living, breathing eulogy. I really do. It's like I love reading the obituary page in the newspaper.
Okay, I've never thought it was a eulogy, so we're going to have to talk about that at Denny's later on.
Breathing, living eulogy.
Yes, a living celebrational eulogy.
Yes, because when I read the obituary page, I can't wait to look forward to read about someone who I never got to know, and now I get to know them. The inventor of the Slinky, that character actress who I always knew by the face but never knew the name. And I get to read about them, and I feel like I know them. So now we do that here, and we do that in person, and we really celebrate them here as this really living eulogy, saying, who are you? And we recognize that, and so we have everyday superstars all around us.
We do.
And this is what we're just so grateful for, and we're grateful for all of their light that shines on us as they share their passions. And this is what this show is about. So we're just grateful for all of this.
Well, the week. I mean, we kind of have similar highlights.
We have the similar. So
First of all, we're so excited about our guest. We're like beside ourselves about the guest that we have this week. And we had a little chat with her the other day, and one of the things she said was, you never know where what's going to happen next. You never know where your good's going to come from. I know I'm paraphrasing, but you just don't know what is around the corner. And so today, I had lunch with a friend of mine and shared with my friend that we really need to get sponsorship to keep this show going. And he said, well, and I said, do you think you'd want to sponsor a show? And he asked me what that entailed. And he said, oh, okay, well, I'll sponsor 4. Now, I'm not going to tell you who the sponsor is because we're not going to tell you until next week, till they're really sponsoring us. I'm going to see if he's up. Complete surprise. We were just so blown away by the fact that someone just offered it, and I only asked for 1 and I got 4. So it was a demonstration of just a lot of great stuff and how much we love the show and how much people love it, because we're getting some really great feedback. Do you happen to have the letter with you?
I don't.
All right, we're going to read it next week.
We've
been getting some really great fan mail, but we're going to read the fan mail next week. And tell me about your amazing highlight, and then I can't wait to introduce our guest.
Yes, and I'll just go into that.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
you got it.
Really, the highlight is it's just been a wonderful week. And talking to Julie in the pre-interview, our guest, I just have to say that she did say this wonderful thing about everything is possible. And she just shared so many things that just really touched me and stayed with me. And I thought, this is someone who has lived this and lives it. And this is even better. It's great when you read it in the book, but when someone really lives it and shares it, that is just such inspiration. So that said, we're just going to go right into the introduction of our guest, and I really want to get correct. So I'm reading it. So, okay, our guest is an actor, an author, a producer, and she is the best-selling author of Secret Storms. That's Secret Storms, A Mother-Daughter, Lost and Found. And this is the winner of the National Indie Excellence Book Award and the Indie Reader Discovery Award. And it was featured on the Katie Couric Show, the Jeff Probst Show, and on the Oprah Winfrey Network and in Redbook Magazine. And Julie also not only had one of the top-selling indie books that she wrote, she had one of the iconic independent bookstores in this neighborhood.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay, we're so excited that you're here.
Well, it's just lovely to be here. You two are amazing. I mean, yeah, it says that on that cup.
It says it on the cup.
Yep, I love that. Yeah. Thank you
Welcome.
for inviting me.
Oh, thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you. So we just had a wonderful talk with you before, and
So I think that probably some of our listeners, most of our listeners, some people are probably familiar with your story, and some of them aren't. So would you mind giving a recap of what your book is about?
Yes.
And then we want to talk to you about what your story, just a little bit about your story.
All right. Well, I grew up outside of Philadelphia. I grew up on the main line, and the main line has always been a very posh area. It's where people settled when they came over on the Mayflower, and so there's an awful lot of history there. Ben Franklin, I mean, just George Washington, just a lot of people. And my family was very, I guess for the United States, aristocratic, very blue blood. And so I grew up in that manner. I was a debutante, mainline debutante. And later on, I decided, after I graduated from school, I decided that I wanted to be an actress, and I went off to New York, and I fell madly in love with a Jewish kid from the Bronx. And my parents were absolutely horrified. This was not, I was supposed to marry, one of the persons I was going out with was T4, Teddy Roosevelt IV.
Wow.
So
Yes.
or Rodney Wanamaker, or somebody like that. Those were the people that I was supposed to marry, and stay, on the main line, and maybe go off and act, yes, but then always come back.
But keep the mainline lineage going.
But keep the mainline lineage going, exactly. So I fell in love with Frank. That was his name. He was very handsome. He had gone to high school of performing arts. He had been an actor himself. His father was an actor. His mother was an agent for Tennessee Williams. Oh. They were an extraordinary couple. And that summer, we were at Westbury Music Fair, and I was an apprentice, and he was working in the box office, and we had an affair. Went home, was going to go back to the neighborhood playhouse, which is the school I was going to, and I found out I was pregnant. And my mother and father were horrified. Now, you couldn't get abortions in those days, but they really wanted me to have an abortion. Even though we were Catholic, it was, they felt that I just shouldn't hold up my life by having a child and keeping it, and marry somebody who is Jewish.
And how old were you at this time?
And I was 19.
Okay.
So, I mean, I really could have made a decision there. But at 19 and 1960s, you were younger than
Yes.
you are now.
Yes.
Right.
So my parents actually put me in a mental hospital,
Yeah.
because there I could get an abortion. Because if you are thought to be mentally ill, then you have a reason to have an abortion. But I refused the abortion. And so they kept me there for the entire period that I was pregnant. And it was really a horrifying place. It was for the criminally insane. And the people in there were, one of them I name in the book, Secret Storms. I call one of them Mafia Whore.
Oh, yeah.
She was a tough lady who ran around taking her clothes off and screaming and yelling. There was a late girl that I became friendly with who would beat her head against the wall and break her arms and do whatever she could to hurt herself. She had to wear a helmet. And there was nothing wrong with me. I was fine. I was just pregnant.
Unbelievable.
So when I finally left the hospital, it was when I was giving birth. I went to Catholic Charities, and I had decided that I really had no income. I had really nothing to offer this little baby that I had grown to love for, 9 months. And I'd loved the father. I do have to say that we couldn't get married because he was already married. That was another little kind of side thing there.
It's a complication.
A
Just
little
a minor complication.
Yeah. So I gave up my little daughter, and I called her Amy, which means love. And it was devastating for me. And after that, I went on to become an actress, but I was plagued with great sadness at her loss. I write about this in the book also, and this is the secret storms part of it for me, is that I would be plagued with this, what I call the beast, that would kind of just take me over. It would come inside of me, and it would just expand itself, and anything that I thought about or tried to make it go away, it would just like eat me alive, and it would just send me into zombie-like.
And this is when you really had, by all appearances, a successful life.
I was acting. I was on several soap operas. I was doing, what's the name of that coffee?
Maxwell
House. Thank
Maxwell
you.
House. I've read up on you. I've read your whole book.
I was the Maxwell House wife, which was, somebody who just smiled into the camera. I played 16, 17-year-olds. I was on Secret Storm for 2 years, and I, was a young person. But meantime, I went back and I found the man that I loved in New York, and he was married no longer. And we got married. And we had 2 children very soon after that. And my first child, my first daughter, Amy, was born in April, and my next child, Danielle, was born a year and 6 months after that. So they're very close in age. Frank became a movie producer for television and miniseries, and we moved out to California. And I continued to have this beast kind of inside of me. I think I'm talking more about the beast today because of what happened.
Sure.
With Robin Williams. And understanding that beast just taking you over, and you pray to God, you don't want it to be there, and it just wells up in you. Anyway, we moved out here. I was still continued to act. My daughter Danielle, she became an actress. She was on General Hospital, and she played Lou with John Stamos. Mm-hmm. And then she did La Bamba.
Oh, yeah.
And my son also was an actor, and he did some films with John Travolta, and so we were living out here very happily. And at a certain point, we all decided that, because we loved books, my father was a writer. He wrote The Fox and the Hound.
I love that.
Which Disney made into a film. He also wrote The Gladiator, which was made into a film. He wrote, I think, 60 different books and articles and everything.
Wait, your dad wrote The Gladiator that was made into the film that Ridley
Yes.
Scott produced?
Yes, yes.
Or directed?
Yes, yeah.
Wow. We have to
Yeah.
talk about that after the show.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have something to
You
tell
like
you.
that?
I'm-
Okay, yeah. What happened was that our family was like they were graduating, they were going off to school, and we wanted to stay together, the four of us. So we decided to open up a bookstore. And we called it Portrait of a Bookstore because the logo was the four of us. And we opened it, and it became a major success within months. We had huge, wonderful book signings with all kinds of people like Gore Vidal, and it's just amazing. And we sold gifts, which were
You could
book-related
count on
gifts.
your store
and
for
we
the best
had
gift.
we bought a place in England, in the Cotswolds, and we would go to England and we would bring back antiquarian books and we would sell them there, and antiques that would go with the kitchen books and things we would bring back from England. Anyway, it was one day, it was a Thanksgiving day, the day before Thanksgiving, and I had been at the bookstore setting up for Christmas, and I was exhausted because I would get there at like 5 in the morning, and I got home that night, and there was a certified letter. And I looked at it, and I said, "Oh my God, what is this?" And I opened it up, and can I read it to you?
Yeah.
Did you bring it?
Oh,
you have
yes.
I
yeah.
have it.
Oh, that would be
because
wonderful.
It's just so extraordinary.
Yes. Oh.
Because it's beautifully written too. And this is what the letter said. Dear Mr. and Mrs. von Zernick, how do I start a letter such as this? Well, I think I'll simply just start with, I was born on April 19th, 1964 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. According to my adoption papers, I was given the name Amy Mannix. Before I was placed up for adoption, though, Catholic Social Services on May 16th gave me to my parents. I didn't read that right, but anyway. My adoptive parents renamed me Kathleen Marie Whistler. Based on the documents Catholic Social Services provided me, I find it plausible that you may know some information concerning my birth family. Attached are adoption documents from the Archdiocese of Philadelphia Catholic Social Services. Would you please take a minute to look over them? It is possible that you may know some information that may lead to this family. It is not my intention to disrupt their lives. I simply want to connect on any level they feel comfortable. Please, at your convenience, let me know if you can assist me with additional information.
Wow.
Well, you can
So,
imagine.
What was that moment like?
I sat there for about, 5 minutes, and then I screamed, Frank, Frank, Frank. And he came running in, and he saw the letter, and we were just overwhelmed. We couldn't believe it. This was like 40 years later, 38 years later, and we had left all kinds of notes with Catholic Charity. We had done all kinds of tracking down with detectives and everything, and we had not been able to find her, and here suddenly she had found us. So she had left a phone number. So we called her.
You called her right then and there.
Right then and there.
Wow.
First, I have to say, I called Danielle and Frank Jr., and they said, you better be careful. It's possible that this is a hoax. You don't know that.
Yeah, because you really, one thing I really want to reiterate is that you are extremely successful, and your success continued on the material level while this happened. So you did have this beast, interior beast, but on a material level, very shiny and pretty.
Yes, yes.
And so and I understand that they would want to be
I mean,
protective.
the shiny
Yes.
and pretty as
on the outside.
as the family.
Yes,
Yeah, everybody
yes.
was doing something that they loved,
And materially successful.
and we were materially successful.
And I could see why they would be-
Yeah,
Right.
would
Why
see
they
why-
would be concerned.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we Googled her.
Your friend Google. your friend Google.
Yes.
We love Google.
And it said, we Googled her name, and it said a drug addict in Las Vegas.
Oh, God. No, you left this out of the book.
Yeah,
But this is
well,
good stuff.
Yeah, this is so. We said, I don't care. Let's call her anyway. It's such an incredible letter, and she's in Florida. So we called her, and she picked up the phone, and I said, "Hi, this is Julie Mannix von Zernick. I received your letter." Now, she doesn't say in the letter that she's our daughter. She's just kind of putting out, kind of a hand to see if we're interested, which was very generous of her.
Very generous.
So then we began to talk. I said, "Tell me a little bit about yourself." And she did, and then she told me that her mother died when she was 4. And I just went, oh, God, because really what I had wanted for her and why I gave her up was the fact that she could have a mother and a father. So I then said, I think I am your mother, and would you like to talk to your father? And Frank got on the phone, and she had no idea that I had married,
Her father.
her father.
Her father. I know.
So, that was amazing. Now, the book goes from getting the letter, receiving the letter, and then we go into Kathy's story.
Yes.
Which I found
yes.
extraordinary.
And she tells that herself,
Yeah,
right?
which she writes it herself. So we then begin to see her side and how she grew up and what it was like to have her mother die when she was, really quite very young, and then be brought up by this incredible father. She had 2 brothers, one older and one younger, and he was bringing them up by himself and working. And that is amazing. He could have, as she said, returned them.
Right.
But he was quite an extraordinary man. And he took good care of them and was very loving. And I think it was about 2 years later, he married somebody else who had 2 children. And she was the wicked stepmother. She would feed her children bacon and eggs and waffles.
Her
and
own
all
children.
kinds
Her own
of her own
children,
children. And then she would give them a bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
Kathy was beautiful.
Yes.
She had
She is
long.
beautiful.
She is beautiful.
They named her Kathy, as it says in the letter. She is beautiful.
If you have a
She had-
photo of Kathy over there that you can throw up, that'd be great.
Oh, she's just stunning.
Yeah, there's actually a picture of Kathy and Julie together. Which
Oh
is
yeah.
Great. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
oh,
great,
yeah, great.
Isn't she beautiful? Look
Yes.
at her.
Yes.
Aw.
Like her mother.
Oh well. No,
is.
thank you. That's very nice.
is.
She's actually much more beautiful than me. She had this really long hair, and one day her stepmother just put like a bowl over it and cut it all off.
Oh, I read that. I was brokenhearted to hear that. It's traumatizing.
Yeah, and she would constantly do those things, but when the father was there, she was always kind and good and always seemed really nice. It was very, very difficult for Kathy growing up. Finally, they separated because she had run all the credit cards to their max, and they had to sell. They lost their house, and so she moved on to somebody else. And so Kathy and her 2 brothers kind of lived in little small places growing up with her father. She met a wonderful man called Brian, who's a surfer.
It's such a good part in the story. It's so romantic. I want that to happen.
It's
such a good story.
He is gorgeous, and he's so good. And they got married, and she began to work. She was working all along in a shoe store, and then she got pregnant, and she had her first child, Amanda. And that's when she thought, I need to find out who I skipped over something that was very important, and I'm going to have to go back to it. One day when the stepmother was leaving, one of her two children screamed out, "Oh, by the way, you're adopted."
Yes.
And she did not know that, and she was 12 years old.
Yes.
And it was like one of those things that somebody just called as they were leaving, closing the door. And she asked her father, and her father said, "Yes, I thought your mother had told you before she died." And he just didn't ever, I think, want to admit that Kathy was not his own flesh and blood. Anyway, she felt all of a sudden very strange.
Sure.
About everything, about life.
Very
and
ungrounding.
Everything, and she was the
foundation is shattered.
She was, yes, exactly.
She's about to become a mother.
No, well, she found this out when she was 12.
When she was 12.
Now,
Yeah.
then she married, but I left.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Because everyone's going to read the book, and
Yeah.
they're going to get all the facts in
Well,
order. Because
then,
you can't not
maybe
start from the beginning
am
and go
I
straight
saying
to the
too
end.
much?
No.
No, because people will want to read
Oh,
it.
yeah, you want to
okay.
read this, yeah.
So then she decided, I need to find out some information about my.
When she was pregnant.
when
That's
she
what
was
I'm saying.
pregnant,
When she
yeah.
was pregnant. Being
And
a mother,
that's
yes.
when she wrote to Catholic Charities, and she then got some information, and it said that her grandfather was a man called Dan Mannix. So she looked up Dan Mannix, and it said author in Philadelphia, wrote The Fox and the Hound, and wrote this and that, and so she had a daughter and a son, and the daughter is Julie Mannix von Zerneck. And so she then went to Google, and within 7 minutes on Google, she found out that she had a mother, a father. Well, she knew that she had a mother.
Right. She didn't
know
met-
that
yes.
that was her father, but she knew that she had a brother and a sister. They could have been a half brother and sister. And then
But it's not a half brother. That's
No,
what's so
no.
amazing.
yeah, and then she wrote that letter. After that, we talked, we Googled, and we decided something that was really important, and that was we shouldn't get together right away because it would be two total strangers meeting.
Wow.
What we should do is have a gestation period. So we Skyped back and forth. We wrote letters. We sent pictures. We got to know each other really well. I told her about her grandparents and her great-grandparents. She told me about her life story. So when we finally decided to meet, which was at the Ritz Hotel in New York, because I was living in California and she was in Florida, and we decided to meet
Middle
In a
ground.
kind
neutral
of middle
place.
ground in
Yeah.
a neutral
And
place.
the Ritz, which is lovely.
Yeah, isn't it? And they had a harp playing, just automatically.
yeah.
It wasn't because for us. And she walked in, and I knew her right away, of course, from all of her pictures. But also, she just had this spirit, this gentle, beautiful spirit about her. Then soon after, she met her sister, Danielle. She met her father. She was absolutely gobsmacked that her father was
In the
man I
pictures
had
with you,
married.
yeah.
Yeah. And she met her brother, and we have been building little by little a new life. It's been very hard for her, especially. Well, it's been hard for both of us.
Yes.
Because it's our life just got turned over.
Sure.
All of a sudden, all the things that I dreamed about had come true.
Well, that's one of the things
And
I
the
really.
beast began to go away.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
and
We were
that's
talking about
That's
that.
the quote that I have. The beast does go away.
The beast
so
went
this,
away.
something
Yes.
lifted when
Yeah.
this happened. I'm so glad to hear that.
And you know what? I have, when I hear your story again, I had read it last year. What I hear is that one thing that you didn't talk about, and we do have pictures, is your parents raised you in a manner for the main line that was not quite main line.
Right.
Yeah, they raised you like with these wild animals.
Right.
And we have some
That-
pictures.
Okay.
And they
yes.
kind of had this different way of raising you, and I'm just going to say different. And then Kathy, Amy, she had her trials and tribulations. And really, when I was looking over my book at Kindle, I thought this is so much a story, not only of wonderful hope and inspiration, but I think so much of your beautiful spirit that just shines is forgiveness.
Oh, thank you. That doesn't come easily.
No.
Well, one of
Yeah.
the things we talked about, I said in reading, what I didn't feel was this huge sense of anger coming through the pages. And I have to say, I've been so excited about you being a guest. I've shared your story with many people, and they all have this horrible, they want to get back at the parents and all this stuff that they want to,
Putting you in a mental
and
institution.
all of
yes.
that. And yet, that's not the story you tell, and it's the story you could have told.
Yes.
Well, I did understand, and this I think helped the beast go away.
Absolutely.
Talking with Kathy,
Yes.
that my mother, especially my mother, my father kind of said, whatever you think, dear. My mother was trying to save my life. She thought she was doing the best. She didn't want to do anything to hurt me.
No.
She just wanted to have the life that she thought was the best for me.
Well, and this perspective probably wouldn't have come had you had this experience when you were much younger.
Right. That's right. Yes. And
that-
now that you're a mother,
Now that you're a mother,
and
You're
you've had,
right.
and you really, I mean, and through the book, which I love, you really acknowledge this beast and how you worked with it in therapy and what you really did with it. So this beast was almost like someone that you forgave as much for its presence.
Yeah.
And by forgiving that, you
That's
were able
interesting,
to really
yes.
forgive yourself for everything. And Kathy was able, it's just like all of you had this like, you really went through this transformation with your secret storms, all of you.
I think also Kathy was able to forgive her stepmother. And that was a very important thing to her because that was kind of a little beast inside of her.
Yeah.
You know?
And she has children now.
She has two incredible children who are the same age as her sister's children,
Wow.
Danielle's. It also turned out that she used to watch General Hospital
Oh, I love it.
when she was in college, and she watched Danielle, and she would always say, you know, we look so much alike.
Oh.
And they do. They look so much alike, and they have the same mannerisms.
I think we have pictures of the beautiful family.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
sure. Throw up pictures anytime. I can't wait for them to see some of the pictures if we go back and look at your childhood. 'Cause
yeah.
I want
Yes,
those
those-
moments of your childhood.
Well,
And
some
it's
of
very
Those moments, the
interesting.
pictures with the animals.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what I want.
Well,
the
also,
monkey.
her daughter, Catherine, looks so much like my son Frank Jr.
Oh, wow.
That they it's like they could be twins almost, except there's a lot of years between them. But it's just amazing how that just, and the mannerisms, that's the other thing. Even though she was not raised with us, when she and Danielle and Frank Jr. sit next to each other, they have the same mannerisms. They tilt their head a certain way, they laugh, they use their hands to talk. It's just wild.
So you've really, you said something where it's really great. You said that you both learned so much from each other, and you and Kathy, and writing this book, and you're writing another book, which will have you back when that comes out.
Oh, thank you.
But so you said that you learned so much from each other, and the thing that I got when reading this, it's wonderful how you tell your story, Kathy tells her story, and I believe you said that's one of the reasons it was independently published, because main publishers wanted it as one story, and you were really insistent.
Yeah, we had 2 publishers that were really interested in doing it. They said, but we want it under one voice. And
It's
we
perfect.
said, absolutely not. We can't do that.
And it became the indie bestseller.
Yeah.
It was so much fun to read and shift into that story and hear her voice and hear her experience, and I could just picture all of it, and no, it's perfect. Obviously, it's been super successful.
Thank you. Yeah. No, and her voice is so interesting and so different from mine.
Yes.
You know, I don't think you could have told this story without her voice being separate from mine.
I love, and I bring this up a lot, but I just love the idea that, here you had many things to take you down a path of self-destruction, and you didn't. You have continually stepped up and out and climbed out from what could have been a downward spiral. And you've been very successful, and you are sitting here today, and people who would have come into the bookstore the day after Thanksgiving, imagine here's Julie, and you just don't know what's going on in someone's life.
You never know.
You never
Yeah.
know.
You can pass somebody on the street and
having had your story, I mean, I would imagine that you have a different open heart when you meet people, because you know that you don't know what someone's
yeah,
story.
that's so true. I mean, I
know?
think that's why I loved being at the bookstore every single day.
And I love what you said. It wasn't just your bookstore. You really made it. Can you share that? I love that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people would say, "Oh, this is your bookstore," and I'd go, "Oh, well, no, it's actually everybody's bookstore."
And they felt that way.
Anybody that was behind the counter, all the customers would think it was their bookstore. It was Donna's or Lily's or Ida's.
Well, I hope that you do open another one. Only I just remember when I walked into Aroma Cafe the first time, and you were just like, wow, this
And it
is
was so
incredible,
tiny, right?
But it
Oh,
was,
yes.
but it was cozy, and there was little pockets of magic everywhere.
Oh,
Yes.
thank
And
you.
just
It was
little.
oh.
It was.
It was you and just who you are, and you opened it, and
And everyone knows who you are.
Yes.
It's like, I don't want to compare, but it's like the Bodhi tree.
Yes.
Oh,
Everyone knew
yeah.
the Bodhi tree,
Yes,
and we
yeah.
all cried when that left. And when
Oh,
I walked
wasn't
into
that-
Aroma and saw that you were gone, I was heartbroken.
We still are heart.
We're still heartbroken.
But getting back just real briefly about like how Joanne said, you had so many trials and tribulations, and you talked about one thing that really helped you was that love of your aunt.
I had a wonderful aunt called Aunt Amy, and she was a regular kind of person. Now, I have to say, because we haven't mentioned this, I grew up with wild animals. My father was a writer who also wrote about
Throw some of them up.
wild animals. So I grew up with a cheetah called Ranny, and an eagle called Aguila, and Quadamundi, and a snake called Peter that was a python that was 10 feet long, and Petunia, who was Peter's wife, and foxes that my father used, Fox and the Hound. I had a monkey.
I love the monkey.
I had a monkey when I was young.
You did?
Yeah, we did.
What kind did you have?
It was the kind that you're supposed to mate before they get mean.
Oh, well, that.
It
was a
7
little
years
tiny
old.
monkey. We had it in our laundry room, and people would come see it.
I bet it was a squirrel monkey.
Probably a squirrel monkey, and it was pretty neat. But we also had an aviary. We had rabbits.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
I lived in Newport
my.
Beach, but we did have this. I don't think it was
Wow.
legal.
To have a monkey?
Yeah, I now have chickens, so maybe I got some of that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Well, you get eggs then.
Yeah,
That's kind of
good
cool.
eggs.
That's
Yeah.
very
People wanted
nice.
to come to your house.
People, all my friends from school always wanted to come so they could have their picture taken with Ranny the cheetah.
Yes, because the kids love
Because
the
they
monkey.
and they also love the monkey. I had a spider monkey called Jupo, and I had a squirrel monkey called Macho.
I love the names.
I'd say we had a menagerie, and any time any animal didn't have a home, we would take it in. So one time I came home and there was a baby orangutan in my bed, and he was so cute. But the zoo couldn't take care of him for about a month. So
you
he
fostered
came,
the orangutan.
and it
Of
was a
course you did.
tiny little orangutan, and it slept with me in the bed.
And see, I love how matter of fact you are, because to me this is normal. I'm like, well, this was the childhood I would have dreamed of. But some people are probably listening, going, "What?" I just think it's magical.
Ranny the cheetah would wander around the house, and when I would come home from school, sometimes she would be on my bed. And I would have to push her over, and if I wanted to have a nap or if I wanted to study or anything, and she had a very rough tongue, and she liked to lick your hand because there was salt on your hand.
Wow.
But she was wonderful. One year it snowed so badly that the snow, I think, was up to our waists. You know that snow.
I know that
You
snow.
know that
Yes,
snow.
I don't.
And all the animals had to come inside.
Oh, gosh.
So we had the cheetah, we had the eagle, we had all the snakes, the piranhas.
And everyone got along?
They were all in different parts of our living room. Was huge. We had 4 generations worth of books in that living room. And they all were put in different sections around the fireplace because it was so cold. And they had to be kept alive, especially the snakes. They
Sure, they have
be-
to have
yeah.
the warmth.
Yeah, and Ranny, of course, and it, and we all slept in there. So it was just
Do we have
part of our
anyone in the
life.
chat room? We have people through because we have to
you've
do.
got a
We've
chat
got to
room.
do.
Cool.
We have to do our giveaway question because I
Oh,
realize
yeah.
we're in a weird time thing because. But we need to do our giveaway question, and then we can go back to talking more. So we're very excited because Julie has her book, and we will send this book to whoever gets the question right. So Julie, you get to ask the question, and I did know the answer when I saw it. I went, "Oh yay! I knew the answer to this."
Oh.
But go ahead, you ask the question and see if our callers will know the answer.
Well, the question is, does anybody know why the main line is called the main line
In Philadelphia, right?
in Philadelphia?
Okay,
why is
great.
it called Main Line Philadelphia?
Okay, great. So grab your pens, listeners. 323-843-2826. That's 323-843-2826. Give us a call if you can't get through and you're in the chat room. Let us know because sometimes we do have some phone issues. And if you know the answer, we will send you a copy of Julie's book. And then Sabrina, go
Yes.
for it. What's your?
I love this part of the show. So, if every time you walked into a room, a theme song played, what would that theme song be?
And Now My Love.
And now,
Now
my,
My
love.
Love.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see.
And now my love.
I never even.
Well, this is the very.
What is
It
this
hasn't.
part?
But now, my love,
Oh, this is a.
Ooh,
now that you left me,
ooh.
how can I live
It's very
through
dramatic.
another day?
Julie.
Watching my dreams
I think we got it.
turning.
It's from a movie that was directed by Claude Lelouch.
Oh.
About two people who they're always crossing paths, and a woman and a man, and they they're perfect for each other, but they never get together.
Wow.
They come out of a restaurant and one goes into a restaurant, or one is on the beach and another one passes by on the beach, and you think they're going to get together. The only time that they kind of get together is at the very end, when they're both taking the same airplane and their luggage is going up the ramp together side by side, and then you go into the airplane and you see that they're sitting side by side. So you think, aha, this is
Oh, I love
this is going
that.
to be it. It's a beautiful movie.
I love that.
Kind of reminds me a bit of you and Kathy.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah.
Sabrina's song is Hallelujah. and mine is the Mary Tyler Moore theme. So we love that. It's such a fun thing. Do we have anybody on the line right now? Nope. Okay. You can't Google it. We don't mind if you cheat. Sometimes it's hard to get through.
Or you can
so,
you can answer the chat room too.
Or you can answer in the chat room as well. So, okay, so we probably have, how much more time do we have left right now? We've got 5 minutes left.
okay.
Ooh,
Oh,
wow.
okay.
Gosh, time goes really quickly. All right, so are you doing any signings right now? Like when, or any, are you going to be anywhere talking about?
Actually, yes. Kathy is at Bookstore in Florida.
Okay.
On the 27th.
Okay.
She is going to be signing at it's a small bookstore there called the Tattered Leaf. The Tattered Page.
The Tattered
Excuse me,
Page.
Tattered Leaf. I don't know where I
Kathy
got that.
Hatfield at the
Kathy
Tattered-
Hatfield.
Yeah.
Tattered Page.
And then she also, we do a lot of book signings at book clubs.
Yes.
So we go around the United States to different book clubs.
So if you're listening and you have a book club, you could contact. Now, how would someone
Yeah.
contact you? Through Secret Storms?
Secretstorms.com.
So that's Secret Storms with an S on the end, secretstorms.com. So they could
Right.
contact you through that. And you have a Facebook page.
And we have a Facebook page, and we have a blog.
And you have a
on
blog
there,
and a Twitter account.
and a Twitter. And Kathy has an amazing, for all adopted
I saw
people.
that.
She has adoption reunions.
It's a group on Facebook, right? I
Yes.
saw that, and I actually sent it to someone whose a child found them
Oh,
recently.
wonderful!
So yeah,
she's got maybe over 4,000 followers.
That's wonderful.
That's
and
incredible.
people just write in and just talk, and she asks a question once a week, and they answer it, what it's like to be adopted. And she has great questions. It's very good, but you have to sign into it. Yeah,
right. You've shared a lot. We've talked about a lot of different things, and we could really go off onto a lot of different avenues and alleys. But one of the things I just want you shared a couple of things with us more about philosophy, and your just like more of a spiritual take on things. And would you mind sharing that, where you talked about what your philosophy is about oneness? And
well, I actually especially believe now that Kathy and I have found each other, she found me, is that really we are all connected. Everybody in this world is totally connected. And if you actually meditate, or you just lay there and you think about one person for a long, long time, or if you are sitting in a restaurant and you see two people talking, and let's say they're having a fight even, and if you sit there, my husband and I have done this several times, and you just concentrate on them, and you send your energy over there, and you send love, you can watch it make a difference. It's
so
absolutely true. Even you're not going to fix things, but what you're going to do is it just helps calm them down. And you can't always think to do it. And you're having your own lives and your own conversations and everything, but we have done that quite a few times. And I mean, even passing somebody on the street that's in a very bad way, like it's talking to themselves, if you kind of just take your energy and you pass it along, they will stop for a little bit. It's very strange,
that.
but
Well,
everybody who's listening to this, go out and try it.
You know, it's just so wonderful because last week we had a guest who quoted Sai Baba that we are love, unfolding love. And that's what that
that's
reminds
lovely.
me of.
That's beautiful.
That reminds me of
Yeah.
love. We are love. When you say that, but you say it because you are it. You don't have to quote it. You just are it. You just go, this is what we do. This is what I am. And I love that all the more. It just really warms my heart.
Well, is there anything else you want our listeners to know that we may not have covered, or something you wanted to share? And if not, that's okay, but you might have something you just want to make sure someone out there hears.
Well, Secret Storms is a book not just for women. It's also for men, because there are a lot of men who have given up their child.
Very important.
Really
And
important.
there's a lot about the men in our lives in here, and so it's amazing. We get so much fan mail from men as well as women.
Very important. Wow.
Well, thank you.
Well,
Yes.
Julie.
thank you.
Thank
this
you
has
so
been
much.
extraordinary.
Gosh, we could
You
talk
guys
forever.
are terrific.
Yes, thank you so much.
Well, we have to. We really do have to say goodnight. And next week, do you want to tell a little bit about our guest we have on next week? And we have Elliot on next week. Is that right?
No, we have on Samantha Bennett.
We have Sam Bennett on next week.
Yes.
Yes, the Organized Artist Company. We're so excited. Oh, gosh, she has a book called Get It Done, Accessing Your Genius in 15 Minutes a Day. So Sam Bennett's going to be on next week, theorganizedartistcompany.com. So check her out there. You can find us. First of all, you can go to youtube.com/The Amazing Hour and go back and listen to any interviews that we have. And tonight's interview will be up tomorrow. You can go to our website, theamazinghourradioshow.com, and you can send us a little note. There's a contact page there. Let's see. Follow us on Facebook.
And you never know, if you check out our website and send us a note, you might just win some of these prizes.
Yes, sometimes we do random giveaways if you send us a note that we like,
Yes.
or fan mail. We're thrilled
and we'll
about that.
read some fan mail next week.
Yes, we're going to read fan mail next week.
yes.
And so like our page on Facebook, pretty please. Follow us on Twitter. And that's it. So we're just going to share one thing that each of us are grateful for. That's how we like to close the show, because it's Gratituesdays. So Julie, something you're grateful for.
Well, at this very moment, I am grateful that I have 3 children that I get to see whenever I want and talk to and share with, and that has changed my life.
Yay. I'm grateful to Sabrina for sharing this book, Secret Storms, with me, because I could not put it down, and it made me think in so many different ways. It made me think about writing, because I write, and it made me think about my relationships. It made me think. It just made me think, and it'll make you think too. So I'm grateful that you introduced it, because I probably never would have found it, or I don't know. I read too many self-help books, so I'm going. I'm going to start reading more real stories.
And I'm just very grateful for Portrait of a Bookstore. It provided such a home. It really provided such a home. You know, Donna DeLacy, who led our book club and still leads it at different locations, and every woman that was in that book club, and we just really, we went through one year where we actually lost some people, and it made us like closer, and that whole atmosphere, you really made it a home to many.
Oh,
so
thank you. It was
Yay.
28 years old.
Thank you. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, just
As old as I am.
oh my God.
Yes. Well, thank you so very much for listening. We look forward to seeing you next week here at The Amazing Hour. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, and have a great night.
And you're amazing.
You're amazing.
Amazing.